Deb, when you're about to hire and it's a situation where you want to replace someone, you're going to dismiss someone, you're looking for their replacement, you're sitting down to talk to them. We've touched upon all the openness of the conversation that needs to be there, and the gentleness and kindness. Sometimes it's easy to say, well, there just wasn't a good fit. Other times, it's going to be a loyal employee who's been there for decades.
That's right.
And now you can't put it in those terms, because those aren't the true terms. Tell me how you handle that one.
Well, I had to create something to answer this problem, and I think I have. I've used it numerous times. So again, to set the scene, it's typically when, and I've seen this is what I normally will see in this case, a dentist who has literally opened their doors of their practice from day one with this particular employee. She has been with him through the growth of his practice, through the increase of team members, through thick and thin, maybe 20 or 30 years. A wonderful person. He adores her or him, trustworthy, loyal, all the things you hope for. But unfortunately, he kind of went this way, and instead of her following, she's forcing herself that way. And what I mean by this is that, when they started out 30 years ago, there wasn't the technology we have today. And we all know that technology in our business is happening so quickly. It was very tough for her to stick with him when he integrated new systems, added to the computer program, started to bring in a lot more technology. She tried, she fought it, she cried to him, but he, was determined, and rightfully so. It's his practice. It was the direction he wanted to take. And he's clearly seeing that she's lost her spark. She's there in body, but she's not there in soul. She's just in a whole different place. But my goodness, she's been with him for 30 years. Never missed a day, knows the family, has been to events, he's been to her events. How the heck can he say goodbye to this person of all people? And then the other thing is, I've heard this too, that they worry again because they have the secret sauce recipe. They know where everything is because why? This doctor just trusted her. I don't need to ask questions. She knows where everything is. She knows what she's doing. But it's gotten to a point where it's affecting the rest of the team. It's affecting the patients a little bit because she's just not herself. So what do? We don't pull the rug out from under her, but we just have to address it. So of course, like we always do, like I always recommend, the doctor sits with this gal and says, here's what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm observing. And 9 out of 10 times, the person, because she's been with him or her for so long, says, you're absolutely right. It's just so hard for me, doctor. And she almost tries to redirect him. Can we maybe not do this, or can we change that back? I just miss this so much. And doctor says, I wish I could, but I know it's the direction I want to take. I'm so sorry. So we could see we're at an impasse. We just can't work this out. So what we do is this. We say, look, you've been with me forever. I adore you. I think the world of you. But I just don't see us traveling the same path at this point. I feel as though we've just, somehow along the way, we're just drifting apart. So here's what I want to do. I think it's best that we part ways. But with that, I don't want to just send you out in the cold. I want to make sure that you are taken care of. So here's what I want to do. I want to start interviewing for this position because I need to fill it. But because you've been here, and this is a part that I either talk to the doctor about or he figures it out, because you've been with me for 30 years, I want to give you 1 day a week off, or 2, whatever he decides, with pay over the next 6 or 8 weeks, so that you can go out, you can interview, you can try to find a new spot for yourself that fits more with who you are, and so the culture fits. I also, and here's another thing I didn't mention, I am not a big supporter of giving references. They're dangerous, but in this case, this is where I make the exception. He writes very simply, Susie's been with me for 30 years. She has been, and honest, just the facts, right? Like, what was it? Not Dick Tracy. Just the facts, ma'am, right? So we put in factual information. She's never missed a day, she's so forth and so on. Only facts, and that's it. And support her in finding a new spot for herself. And you always, remember, you always start with what he's giving her. So that's what you're getting. In exchange for that, please allow the people that will be interviewing to either see from you, if you should be here when they come in, what your job entails. I want to develop a job description based on, because probably some of the stuff you've been doing over 30 years, most of the time the dentist just carte blanche, they don't even know half of the things. So let's refresh that and let me have all the information. You then get the cooperation, but the big piece here is that when she goes out a day or 2 a week for another interview or a skill assessment, she still is being paid by him. He will pay her for the days that she is going out. It's a reward, it's a comfort for her. She's not being sent out to the wolves without anything. And 9 out of 10 times they find a new position, because there's always a dentist out there that says, I love the fact that she's been in one place for 30 years. And maybe he's just starting out, so she's perfect, because that's where she's been. She's been in a practice from ground level up. And it never fails, it works. And what happens is when they part ways, there's no hard feelings. The team looks at this dentist like he's God's gift, because it's such a respectful thing to do, rather than to say you're out of here. It works really well. So I have that all spelled out, because of course with everything that I recommend, there are always permission slips that are signed. So the permission slip explains it all. The person signs off, you sign off, and you can make it as long as you think you need, or you can leave it open-ended if you feel you want to. But she's actually still there to help train her replacement, give the information to the new incoming employee. It works beautifully.
Have they sometimes found a job within 2 weeks and then wanted to leave? Give 2 weeks notice and leave?
And that's part of the deal. If they
Okay.
find something, you don't want them to miss out. That's very important. They're important right now. So if you have to, you find a temporary to fill the spot until you find someone. But the point is, she leaves with all the information you need to fill her spot. Now, I will tell you, in only one case, only one out of many, I've done this probably 60, 70 times, only one case where the gal said, oh my gosh, I don't like this. I'm out of here, and consider me gone right now. And she just left. And it turns out she wasn't the person he thought. She really just was so discouraged with everything and just couldn't help herself. And to the team's credit, and I told the team this, they were amazing. They didn't go to him and say, she's miserable. she's rude to us. she's rude to patients. They didn't say a word, but she was so unhappy. And so she left.
Interesting.
But it works very, very well. It's just such a fair way to do it. And although I shouldn't say this because so many dentists go, really? What's nice about this too, as just a little aside, is that if they do get a position, there's no reason for you to have to give them unemployment insurance because they've found a position.
That's
of course,
very good.
Yeah, they all love that.
That's
That's
very
a good
good.
part. But more than that, it's the whole.
You've
it's
helped
the
them out.
dignity.
You've helped them on
exactly
in their own journey to a better place for them as well as you.
It is. It's the dignity, and it started with, I remember it was a patient from upstate New York, a client from upstate New York that had this issue, And I figured it out for him, and I said, listen to this. And this was, like I said, about 8 years ago. And he called me after. He said, oh my gosh, Deb, that was the best thing. I wish I had met you sooner, because she was with him for years, miserable. She's happy, they're happy. She comes in, she visits, she sees everybody. There are no hard feelings. And he said, and everybody thinks I'm a hero. All my team members think I'm the best dentist there ever was.
Isn't that something?
So